Welcome to the channel, everyone. This is going to be the first of hopefully many of these. Um, I don't know how many gear reviews and that kind of stuff I'm going to do. Like, not much into that. But I figured this is one way to talk about preparedness and try to give some people some helpful information. Because there's so many people out there that have this gadget or that gadget they're trying to sell everybody, and it's just you get lost in the actual preparedness of gotta have this gadget and that gadget. So like we're just gonna simplify it. Like the question is, what are you preparing for? Once you know what you're preparing for, that's kind of where you start. You know, anywhere from economic collapse to God, a nuclear bomb, however you want to think about it, it's up to you. But one thing the coronavirus did show me is when it comes to some of my preparedness, I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. And it might have been one of those things that opened everybody else's eyes, too. But I figured that I'm driving down this stretch of I-39 tonight through Illinois, and this would be a good time to have a conversation about it. So, ask yourself what you're preparing for, and once you've figured that out, go from there. Like, for me, I can't say I'm preparing for any one thing, but with my preparedness, I'm preparing for doing it without any electricity. Which, hopefully, it doesn't ever get to that point, because electricity is nice, it makes everything easy. But I also look at the situation like, if I don't have electricity, can I still make it? And that's my goal, is to be able to survive off-grid completely, 100%. If there was no grid, it would not affect my way of living, besides having to do extra work here to do things that they would have done back in the 1800s, early 1900s. And if you can wrap your mind around doing preps without having preparedness without electricity, like you're going to cover almost 100% of everything else that you're looking at. If it's from medicine to food to heating your home, all those things, if you can do it without electricity, like I suggest, have the preparedness to do those things without electricity. That's my suggestion. Because if the light switch ever goes off, you're still going to be okay. And there's a bunch of people out there that do preparedness, and they have their little niche. There's some people that are more religious about it. There's some that are more just scare you to death, and then there's some that are militant. Here's the thing. If you're one of those guys that's like, I'm a prepper and I have 10 million guns and a bunch of body armor, but I don't have anything else, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but having a bunch of guns is not going to save you. Because eventually you're going to try to steal something from somebody, and it's going to get you dead. Now, you may not like that answer, but that's the reality of the situation. And the other guy is, I'm going to go out and hunt for my food. And I've got a couple friends that tell me this all the time when I try to have the preparedness talk with them, which you can't force this talk on anybody. You can try to ease your way into it, but once they've set their mind to, like, this is what they would do, it's going to be hard to win them over. But you always have them people who are like, well, I'm just going to go hunt for my food. Yeah, you and every other person in the world. Like, if there's nothing on the shelves, guess what? Someone's going to go out and try to kill something to eat. And it may be you or your dog. Hopefully, fucking neither one, because, well, dude, I'm not too much into eating dog, and I really don't want to get to the point where I got to eat people because, like, that's just a bad choice in general. So, like, don't be that person, and don't be the lone wolf. Like, oh, I'm just gonna hunker down by myself and go live in the woods. Like, there's probably a few people in this world that can do that, but I challenge someone to take a backpack with your bug out bag or whatever you got and go out in the woods and try to stay there for a week. Like, it's not going to be easy. It's not this glamorous thing. And if you do it, like, it's not going to be like this, like, lovely existence that you're having. You're going to be miserable. So, like, I try to prevent that whole thing. And the other thing is, find friends. Find friends and try to, I'm not saying convince all your friends, but, if you can have some friends that have some like-mindedness in this situation, those are going to be the greatest assets in any scenario of any pandemic or epidemic or government collapse or economic shortage or anything like that. Like, because Rome wasn't built in a day and it wasn't built by one man. So take that into consideration when you think about it. Having community and having people that are like-minded and a plan together is going to be your winning strategy. Because say the grid went down tomorrow, like, you can't go and plant your field or your gardens, chop wood during the day, and then sit up at night and keep guard all night. Like, you may do that the first day. At some point in time, you have to sleep. So community is going to be probably the most important thing of all. Like, even maybe more than some of the preps or preparedness items that you have. Like, having people to count on is probably going to be your biggest asset because, like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day and it wasn't built by one man. So you have to take that into consideration when you're doing these things. Do I have someone that can help me? Like, even if it's, a mutual assistance group, which a lot of people, it's hard to put together a mutual assistance group. And here's why. Because everybody has their own idea of what preparedness is. They don't want to give up what they've prepared for, which I'm not saying if you have a mutual assistance group, go tell your friends, like, where everything is stashed, because that's not the answer either. But talk about things. Talk about scenarios if you have a group of people that you can talk to about what you would do if this happened or if that happened. Or, if something were to happen to me in that scenario, would you look after my family in that scenario? Take my stuff and take the stuff I've prepared for them and take care of them for me. That kind of thing. Because that stuff's important. Like, having that planned out, like, even on paper, is useful. And the other thing I would say is, everybody's like, oh, knowledge. Knowledge is power, especially in this scenario. But what I do to help with my knowledge, and, like, I've done this with a couple of my friends, like, I have a binder, and you go to Walmart and you get them big, where you can take sheets of paper and slide in plastic sleeves. I probably got about 500 of them in a binder. And what you do is if you have a computer, which not everybody does, I know it kind of sounds kind of stupid, but my parents don't have a computer. So when it comes to technology, they're completely lost. But if you got a computer and a printer, like, look up how to collect seeds from things. Like, how to, like, canning techniques and how to do it. Recipes. Like, recipes that you're going to use in that scenario. Like, say you have a bunch of red hard wheat recipe on how to make that into something in case something were to happen to somebody that knew how to do it, but something happened where they're not able to do it. Someone else can do that job. Like, just general, like, knowledge stuff. And, you can go buy books on gardening. That's great. Books on medicine. That's great, too. But, like recipes and that kind of thing, and, like, canning things and canning recipes, those things are priceless, and put them where they can't be damaged. And that's the reason I say get the plastic sleeves. And if you have recipes, great. Keep them where they're at. Make duplicates and put the book. And then put that book away. Or maybe make 2 books and put 2 books away. That way, if something ever were to happen to those things, you have backups of those. The preparedness rule: 2 is 1, 1 is none. Keep that in mind when you're doing things. So, like, if you have a book, make 2 books. If you have a plan, maybe make 2 plans. Maybe make a backup plan, which discuss that with your family and go on from there. I know I'm kind of all over the place tonight, and the topics will get more linear as we go. This is just kind of an introduction of where I would like to go with this channel, is talk about things like this. It's talk about, what are good ideas to have? What are, whether it's, there's some people that have religious beliefs for not eating pork. Okay, what are things that they can do for, like, say, like fats? Like, I store lard because lard has proven to have an extraordinary shelf life if done properly. But, like, seeing as they don't believe in eating pigs, what's something they can do? Coconut oil, things like that. Let's have that discussion. Wood burning stoves. Should you have a wood burning stove in your house? I think you should, personally. Like, and if you don't have it installed, have the stuff to install it in case it comes out. And you don't have to have, like, this freaking wood burning furnace that goes in your basement, but like Tractor Supply, they have these little wood burning stoves. They take like a 21-inch piece of wood, and they got like 2 cooktop slots in them, so you can cook on them. So, like, if you had a house, you can put it in a central location in your house and heat the central location of the home, plus use that stove to cook. I mean, this just stuff off the top of my head. So, I mean, things to think about. Preparedness is eating an elephant, and you can't eat an elephant all at once. It's one bite at a time, one step at a time. Now, I will give some advice here in the future on how I do my thing and how I've done it for, God, I think I'm going on 7 years I've been doing this. And I'm not the end-all, be-all of it. Like, I have my flaws. Everybody does. Nobody's perfect. The only person that was perfect, he died for our sins in my personal belief. You can believe whatever you believe, but it's one of those deals that, let's talk about the things here to help us in the future. And if you have ideas or topics that you want to talk about, like, drop a line leave a message on the post or on the video, because, like, you guys are going to help drive the channel. And with no input from you guys, like, it's not going to go anywhere. But we need input. And, like, the other thing is, like, you may not live in a climate where it's cold like I do, where you have to worry about having a wood furnace. But having, like, that stove from Tractor Supply with the 2 cooktop, hey, there's no power, you still need to cook. And that's the way to do it. So, I mean, keep that in mind because you may not always be able to find an LP tank. So there's some things to learn from, like there's communities across the world that do things that we don't. So let's discuss those things and how they work, and like what we can learn from other cultures around the world and how they can help learn. Like where I'm from, there's quite a few Amish folks in the area, and the Amish have been living the preparedness life, well, for their entire life. So, like, if you can find an Amish family, now, a lot of them won't talk to you about things like that because of the way their religion works. Some might not. I can't say that they won't. I can't say that they will. But, like, they might know something. Grandparents. Grandparents can be the greatest book of knowledge that anybody has. Even parents, depending on your age, can be great knowledge. But just think about what you're trying to accomplish. Think about topics you want to talk about and let me know. But this is going to be a channel where a lot of it's going to be, you're going to see this truck going down the road. That's the reason the channel name is what it is, because we're rolling. Like, we're mobile. So, this is a way for me to put my thoughts out there to try to help people, because I think that that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to try to help people. If you would, please like the channel, subscribe, and if we don't, I'm not going to say that we need to get to 10 million followers, but, if I can help 2 people or if I can help 10,000, that's my goal, is to help somebody. And if I can help one person, great. So, like I said, like, subscribe, and have a good evening.